Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special, special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them, and he never shies away.
Shopton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And it's Exhale Friday. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Every Friday we let it out, let it out. Whatever is on your mind, whatever is in your heart. Don't go in the weekend holding it back. Let it out, let it out, let it out. And we want to hear it. And you heard all over the country and even parts of the world. We get calls from from Rick in Germany and message board entries from all over Africa and Canada. So express yourself. People around the world is checking out Keeping It Real to see what American people think. Because if I were somewhere else, I would think we've lost our minds letting the stuff go that we let go under this administration. So text us or call us. The mayor's already on. Mayor Rodney Jones of Queensbridge Houses in Queens, New York, says, it's Exhale Friday. Don't go into the weekend constipated with your thoughts. Let it out. Let it out. The man know how to hit it right on. Let me tell you a couple of things that's on my mind. We saw the federal judge in Virginia, U.S. Judge Leonie Brinkma, a federal judge, put a hold and stopped the $1.8 billion slush fund that Trump has proposed for what he calls victims of being politically targeted because of him. They supported him. Now, these include January 6 people, Proud Boys, that did an insurrection. This federal judge put a hold on it. Now, I'm sure that they are appealing the Trump people to go to a higher court than this federal judge, because it's a Virginia judge, and try to go to the Supreme Court where they basically have things stacked. But it is a temporary hold on the most egregious, unbelievable, blatant level of, I don't even know what you want to call it, but tyrants get away with stuff like this. Paying off people that broke the law to really act like they not only have immunity, they get paid for it by taxpayer money. It's incredible, and then it's not. Stunning, but then it's not. Because Trump is going to go as far as we let them. If we let the midterm elections go, for any reason, I don't like this guy, he don't part his hair right, but we are locked in to a fascist dictatorship, in my opinion. I think that Cedric Cooper says, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. They'll spend $11 million on the reflection pool and not $1 to give water to the poor. Wow, Cedric, that's deep, but you hit it right there. I think that at the one level you win that, at the other level the judge stopped the petition by some of the civil rights groups, civil liberties groups, to stop the new requirements for voter registration, where they're trying to insist on, it's really a voter ID law, birth certificates, passport, things like that. So I think that that's probably going to be appealed as well. So we open up with some legal hurdles to overcome. We also open up today with Trump again saying they're close to a peace deal in Iran, but they're not there yet. Well, it seems to me that what we have seen reported as the makeup of the peace deal has very similar things that was already in place. You know, when Barack Obama settled some stuff, it was too weak. They took us for a ride. Now the stuff that Trump's people are seemingly close to agreeing to is very close to what we already had. So the question is, what do we do it for in the first place? I thought Trump said to the Iranian people when they were marching that there was going to be regime change. Well, that didn't happen. You killed the head of state and his son now is in charge. The control of the Strait of Hormuz is still in the same hands. You got 14 American soldiers or military people dead. Thousands of Iranians dead. And to what purpose? So let's talk about that. Let's also talk about Pam Bondi, the immediate former Attorney General of the nation of the United States of America and head of the Justice Department, testified off camera yesterday to the Senate, to the Judicial Committee. And we'll know when they release the transcripts, but basically it has been said, she said that the mishandling of the Epstein files was not her charge, that she had handed that duty over to her deputy. And who's her deputy? The present acting Attorney General. So she passed the buck back to him. He was Donald Trump's personal lawyer. This is Blanche. This is Todd Blanche. He was Trump's personal lawyer. Put in number 2 at Justice. Now he's number 1 temporarily. They haven't put his nomination up because they're afraid that he won't pass confirmation. So they can keep him temporary for a while. But if he goes in front of a Senate confirmation hearing, he's going to have to answer things, including how he handled the Epstein files. So we're still in the midst of them covering up, playing games, delaying, kicking the can down the road on the Epstein files that clearly violated underage women that have come forward. And Trump claims, yeah, I knew Epstein, but I knew nothing about that, wasn't involved in any of that. So why is your administration so concerned about blocking certain testimonies and blocking certain things? We're going to talk about all that today on Exhale Friday and more, what's going on in your community, your neighborhood. Voting rights at stake here. Economic justice at stake here. If I sound like a broken record, it's because I'm dealing with a broken system that's been repeating the same thing as long as I'm alive. And we got to fight and resist with all we have. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Opening up the phones, 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Shopton, keeping it real. Be right back. thank God I was blessed to have both in my life, both historic, strong figures. But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
Letting the joy unfold. I'm living my life like it's golden. 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 Golden. Living my life like it's 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 golden.
That I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
I'll tell you that.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't work. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary McLeod Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first and we'll be last. We know who we are.
In London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's gonna do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action gonna be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive.
Yes, sir.
There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. And I think that we should really realize by now that we are in a battle in this country between the forces that want to go back before the civil rights movement of the 60s all the way up to now. And the question is whether which side, the freedom fighters or the conservative backlashes, can get their people out to vote. Which is why I unapologetically say that people walking around the community pretending they're militant, talking about voting don't count, is working for the other side. And some people say, well, you know, Remal, they just disagree. They ain't really know they work. They don't understand they working for the other side. They just ain't thought it out. I said, that's exactly why I expose them, because I'm going to try to shake them into understanding it out. And sometime to stand up. Morris Day, who is this? John McKinney says that Morris Day told Donald Trump, no, sir, the time will not be the circus Trumpicus. He was always a great performing artist, but now he's a legend. Always be that guy that told the prayers to take a hike. I'm glad to hear that Morris Day said that. And the artists that have been booked, some of the hip-hop artists and all that have reneged, they've come back and said, oh, no, we're not doing that. We ought to put our arms around them and protect them. One of the things that bothers me is that, still bothers me, I don't know why it's not brought up more, I bring it up often, is we let them penalize Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee for us, and yet we kept going to the ball games. What does the kid say? It ain't right. It ain't right. Let's take some calls. 1-877-532-5797 XL Friday. Let me start the week with a blessing. Miss Eunice, the beloved Miss Eunice in Chicago, Illinois.
Rev, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, Rev, I've been suffering with this sciatica all week. This is the first day I had some relief, and pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a painful thing. Reverend, I want to say...
I'm praying for you. I had a head cold. I'm just about over it.
Yes, You don't want to get this sciatica because it's really something that tightens your muscles and everything up, and you can't make the move. I had to go to the hospital.
That's no
But
comparison.
I'm feeling good up now.
That's no comparison.
Really, I've never seen such as these low-lifers we have in our office. Excuse the expression. We have always had people who do wrong, but it is beyond the pale. Now, there's supposed to be checks and balances, but we have an executive is running the show in front of the cameras, and I really believe others are calling the shots. In his mental state and ego, he thinks that he is doing something, and we're all in trouble, like you say. He's just downright ungrateful. I don't know where such a person came from, and it's awful, and things are not getting better. It is dangerous, and he is being used to get what these others want. And do you remember a song by Ella Fitzgerald and Namone? What's her name, Namone?
Nina Simone.
Nina Simone sang, and also Duke Ellington. Yeah, I got it bad, and it ain't good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to end by saying we all better think and get out and vote. It's later than you think. And thank you for taking my call, and have a great weekend.
And thank you for being our first caller, and you usually are at the end of the week and the beginning of the week. I look forward to it. Thank you so much for your call. Let's go to D in Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. D, another one of my great radio friends.
Ramel, I love you and I appreciate you. I really do. And I want to say amen to everything that Miss Eunice has just said. Rev, I want to remind everybody that somebody back in the day said all politics is local. So I want to give a shout out. I live in the Collier Heights community in Atlanta, houses that were built by and for black people. And our current president is Miss Juanita Morton, and she makes sure that we have during election season, they bring out the different politicians and we get to listen to them and to question them, and that's a good thing. And during the last election a week or two ago, we had a good turnout in the black community, but not as good as it should have been. We need to realize that the black community is under attack. And Rap, what annoys me more than anything is last night I was looking at Lawrence O'Donnell's show, and then I switched, the commercial came on. I said, well, let me see what they're doing on CNN. And I look there and I see they keep trying to find the next Al Sharpton, and there will never be another Al Sharpton, especially when you have two Negroes sitting there calling themselves representing black people defending Donald Trump. How can anyone?
Wait a minute. I didn't see this. They said who is going to be the next Al Sharpton.
Now that's me saying.
Oh, okay.
They keep looking. I think these people are looking for the next Al Sharpton. That's D saying that, okay?
Okay.
And there will never be another one of you, especially when you have some of these young black Negroes sitting up there saying, well, trying to defend any and everything that Donald Trump has done or is doing. Ramel, how can anyone defend what is happening in Washington, D.C. under Trump? How can you defend the indefensible?
Wow.
You can't do it, Reverend Al. You can't do it. So I want to remind our people, so many people gave their lives. The fact that they gave their lives and that the people in Trump and Project 2021, they're trying to take away the voting.
Hello?
We lost her, Rev. We lost her.
How did we lose her?
I think the phone just dropped on her.
Okay, let's see if we can get her back, because I want her to finish her thought. That's what
I'm going to wait for the call back.
All right, Miss D, call us back. I don't know how that happened. In the meantime, on the board, I see Zelmo Brooks saying, my cousin Charles Pringle Jr. Need your help in exposing a New York City housing system. Call the crisis department at NAN, 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. And now we're in the process of moving into the new building, but someone will get back to you. One of the things that is always interesting to me, people are calling if somebody don't get them right away, or they're not responsive. We're in the midst of moving, and we are definitely going to get back to you. And most people that call ain't never been to a march or a rally, but they want everybody to stop for them. We do this, we want to do it, but let's be fair with each other. So make that call. All right, let me know when D's back. Let me, in the meantime, go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Buzz.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend. You sound very, very, very positive.
Yeah, I'm positive. I feel a lot better. I had a head cold the last 2 days. Was just about gone.
Okay, well, I was sick too, but you know what? I'm still here.
That's right.
I want to give a shout out to Larry Blackman at Cameo and LaToya Jackson. Happy birthday to both of you. I want to take my mind off of Donald Trump because, as I said over and over and over again, God is my witness. God is my judge. God is my jury. Reverend, I want to ask you about Michael Jackson's movie. Have you seen it? I mean,
no, I haven't.
From what I understand that is based on, Jermaine's son explaining about the life of the pop star growing up with Michael. And, I mean, I wonder, is it just another movie attempt to keep Michael's legacy alive, or is it just a money-making movie? Because it seems to be in the box office attraction big time. And I want to just look at it.
I was invited to the premiere, and I couldn't adjust my schedule to go all the way to L.A. for the premiere and back, and I haven't been able to see it since then. I know there was some disputes in the family. I don't get in between that. I'm friends with all of the family. I did the eulogy at Michael's. I did the eulogy at Michael's going home service and at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And
I know you hit a home run.
Yeah, thank you. I understand that it's good. Some people on my staff, some people in my family have seen it, and they say it's artistically good, but I've not seen it yet.
Okay, well, I'm going to look at it, but I am always and will be a Jackson 5 fan, a Michael Jackson fan, the family all together. And like I said, happy birthday, LaToya. And to Dominique, I will keep it real as always.
I will tell her.
She
laughs every time I tell her. And happy birthday, LaToya. I join in on that. And you're right. Michael Jackson, one of the greatest entertainers of all times. No doubt about it. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. More of you on the phones, more message board postings. It is Exhale Friday. Let's go out this week with a bang. 1-877-532-5797. Akeem Smith is saying, Reverend Sharpton, Treasury Department pushing plans for a $250 bill with Donald Trump's portrait and signature. Yeah, I saw that. This man is a megalomaniac. He wants to build an ark named after him behind Lincoln Memorial. He got buildings named after him. He's got all kind of banners hanging up like Mao in China. The man has a problem. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back.
Rev, I think her phone died or something. I'm trying to get her back. I think her phone died.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana, They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee. Sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars. Focus on the journey. Michael Beater, Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to say to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers, we thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know, wasn't nothing strange about your daddy. It was strange what your daddy had to deal with. But he dealt with it.
dealt with it anyway. He dealt with it for us. So some came today, Mrs. Jackson, to say goodbye to Michael. I came to say thank you. Thank you because you never stopped. Thank you because you never gave up. Thank you because you never gave out. Thank you because you tore down our divisions. Thank you because you eradicated barriers. Thank you because you gave us hope. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Rev, I try to get Miss D. You hear me, Rev?
Yeah, I'm hear you. All right, no problem. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Is Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and or you can go on the message board and get a message through. And I'll try to read as many as I can. Let me remind you to make sure you watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton this weekend. You want to not miss either night. Tomorrow, Saturday at 5 o'clock, the whole world was watching to see as the South Carolina General Assembly did not change the district lines of Congressman Jim Clyburn. Some Republicans refused to do it. Where do we go from here, and what does this mean, and how does the party start respecting the Democratic Party? Blacks. Well, I'm going to have Jim Clyburn on himself. He'll be on with us tomorrow at 5 p.m. talking about what his victory means and his challenge to the party that they are not energizing the base. You're going to want to see that. Then in the Texas primaries, we had Colin Allred win. He ran against another incumbent. They had meshed their seats together. Everybody thought she would beat him. He won. Colin Allred will be on Politics Nation with me tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, and others around the races and the legal cases around the country. So make sure you watch Politics Nation tomorrow. Then Sunday, going into Mississippi, where they've been fighting district lines, and it looks like a Democrat also may end up being for the first time, the senator. I'm going to have the Congressman Benny Thompson on talking about the voting rights issue there in Mississippi, and Scott Collum, who is the Democratic candidate for the Senate that people say for the first time looks like they may see some Democrat win there in Mississippi. They'll both be on. Then I'm going to have on the mayor of Oakland, California, Barbara Lee, who's facing a primary next Tuesday. And she's going to do our show on Sunday night, a day and a half before the primary, and there's a lot of action there. And I'm going to have on members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. All this is Sunday night. Philip Bailey, Verdine White, and Ralph Johnson about their new documentary on HBO, Earth, Wind, and Fire, to be celestial versus That's the Weight of the World. You're not going to want to miss either night. I told you we got them stacked up. I don't play. I want to get the biggest and the best. I see on the our message line, no, the other one I wanted that he did. It says to OG Kelly saying, John McKinney said that he knows that Disco Brian has some favorite MJ, Michael Jackson records. And then OG Kelly comes back and says, John McKinney, I was jamming MJ yesterday on my ride to Hattiesburg. All right, well, let's find out what Disco Brian got to say about it. He's on the line. Go ahead, Brian from Philadelphia, WURD. I don't hear Brian.
It's Jesse.
You hear me there, Rev?
Yeah, I hear you now, yes.
All right. Did you ask me a question? My first Michael Jackson?
I was reading what somebody put on the board that I think it was John McKinney, that he says, John McKinney said, to get McKinney's text, saying that I know, I'm trying to read it exactly how he said it, that he says, I know that Disco Brian has some favorite MJ records. He's all right, Disco Brian, I know you have a few MJ favorites. And then it was answered by OG Kelly saying to John McKinney, I was jamming MJ yesterday on my ride to Hattiesburg. So I said, since they know you have some favorites, I said, let me put you on. I know you might have called about something else as well, but did you have any favorite MJ? Now you got people watching what you're saying on our message board, Disco Brian. That's good. That's a good thing.
This is getting intense and scary and awkward, Rev. My first MJ record that I owned was Thriller. I was 9. My dad introduced me to my MAGA dad, by the way, Rev.
Wow.
Who defends Michael Jackson to this day, loves him. He introduced me to Michael Jackson's Moonwalk, but it was my anti-racist Italian grandmother who danced me into consciousness. One of my first songs that I remember as a child when I was 5 or 6, Grandma Sylvia Calvalage would bump Rock With You from Off the Wall. So that's where I started with MJ.
Right.
Yeah, bro.
Well, I was fairly close to Michael, did his funeral and burial, and I did the entire 84 Victory Tour with him as head of community affairs. He asked me to do it. So I heard them songs more than I can say. I mean, to go through 32 cities, 3 days a city, having to hear them songs, I could almost do Michael's songs now, and this was 84, where we at, and that's almost 40 years ago. But go ahead.
Well, Rev, I was on my stepfather's shoulders at the Orange Bowl at Miami show, one of those stops. So you and I were in the same auditorium.
Yeah, I was there.
When I was 9 years old.
I was there.
And I had no idea you were there or who you were.
I was there.
Amazing. God is good. Rev, before I get to today's topic, I just want to say about that media accountability briefing service we spoke of yesterday, that I'm working on a complete concrete proposal. Lindsay and I will be hammering it out all weekend, and a sample brief now, and I'm turning it into a professional form before bringing it back to you next week. But with that said, on today's topic, I want to give kudos to one of my favorite creators out in California, guy who posts on all the social media, Myron J. Clifton, who deserves your spotlight, Rev. And and whose witness blesses me daily. He just posted about all these artists backing away from Trump's July 4th event.
Right.
And he asked, quote, "Where are Nicki Minaj, Carrie Underwood, Kid Rock, and the rappers that support him?"
Good question.
Right?
Good question.
And Rev, that got me thinking about who public figures choose to align with and what those alliances mean. Rev, dig, if you will, the picture of a big white male multimillionaire podcaster. Let's say, I'm not going to put a name on him. Let's just say he endorsed Trump in 2024. And let's just say that same big white male podcaster who endorsed Trump in 2024 says he's endorsing an independent candidate in the 2026 midterms. Because here's the reason he gives. He believes that candidate that he's endorsing is the strongest candidate against black power. And Rev, let's also imagine that he invites you onto his podcast and he says, "Hey, Rev, you can say whatever you want on my podcast. You can even use my platform to recruit people to NAN." And Rev, let's say he has an international following. It would be undeniable that you would get attention to NAN and your mission, and he would let you do that. Two questions I have for you.
Wait a minute. Let me get the music and take my break. I'll hold you over. Keeping it real. Exhale Friday. Be right back.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you. Now here's the news.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation
to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, you know, all of this about our friend Barack announced it today. I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history.
We need some room. All right, hold on. Michael Jackson is the highest selling artist of all time. No one has sold more records in the history of the planet than Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson said to us, he did not want to just raise the issue of what's happening with him. He said that artists all over the world need people to stand up and protect their rights. And he said, Reverend, if we're going to stand up, if it's for all artists, I'm there. As you know, there's a big rally his fan club is doing this afternoon, but he said, I'm coming to Harlem this morning to meet with community leaders because we want justice in the music industry for all artists. Now there'll be some that say, oh, Michael, are you doing this only because of your situation? Michael came to Harlem 2 months ago for the DNC. Now he comes for his own peers. Because we discussed it. Kathy and I talked about how we watched James Brown struggle, Little Richard struggle. We've seen artists, black and white and Latino struggle. somewhere this has to stop. We do not buy records. We do not buy CDs to give money to the company. We buy it to support the artists that we like. And we want the artists to be free. We don't want the companies bigger than the artists. We want the people respected and the stars that we make stars to shine in the galaxy for us. And let me say this is the 4th of July weekend. Michael Jackson is an American story. Him and his family rode from Gary, Indiana, to where he's an icon all over the world. Didn't no one give him anything. He sung, he danced, he created, he produced, he spent hours in the studio. No executive did that for him. You do not have the right to take from someone what you didn't put in them. He created where he is. We appreciated it. We didn't hear about Michael when he got to Sony. We knew Michael at ABC when he was in Gary. They got thrilled when he did Thriller. We was already thrilled. We were already off the wall. And we coming off our seats to stand up for justice in the music industry. And let me say one more thing. I don't need that loud talking now. We're on the rail. I want people to hear the message.
It's real. Keep it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It's Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to the message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, we were talking to Disco Brian. Go ahead, Disco Brian.
Thanks for holding me over again, Rev. And again, I'm going to land this in 2 minutes max. Right before the break, I was asking a hypothetical. I asked you if a powerful white podcaster said he supported a candidate because that candidate was the strongest voice against black power, but then invited you on and said, Rev, you can say whatever you want to my millions of fans, would you ignore his endorsement for that candidate and his reason for it?
I think that I try to analyze candidates one by one, and I would also factor in their background and the whole tilt of their career, where they've been on votes in the legislature, if they were in the legislature or whatever. But there are things you can do that would make me say, wait a minute, that's too far out of line. So I would have to see the circumstances. Give me the circumstances that you're saying that they would do such a thing. Are we talking about somebody that has we have somebody with a good record, bad record, in between? I mean, give me the whole picture.
No. I'm literally saying a podcaster, right, says, hey, Rev, a week ago I endorsed candidate X because candidate X is going to be the best candidate to oppose black power. Right. And that's why I'm endorsing that candidate.
Right.
Would you ignore that if you went on to that podcast and you knew that he said he's going to support the candidate who would be the best person to oppose black power?
And what I'm saying is that I would first of all probably, if I knew he said that, not go on his podcast, because he probably would want me to go on the podcast so he can get some controversy and get more people. I would ask the candidate to answer whether they're running based on that. And I would challenge the candidate to denounce the podcaster, to denounce the podcaster or agree with the podcaster.
Love it. So the reason I ask, Rev, and I'll finish here. The reason I ask is this. You know who David Duke is, right, Rev?
Right.
Do you have any opinions about David Duke's life work? Do you think he's been a net positive or a net negative for humanity?
Oh, he's tried to revive the Ku Klux Klan. He's definitely a net negative.
Okay. David Duke publicly endorsed Jill Stein for president in 2024. Now, to be fair, Jill Stein rejected his endorsement. But Duke's reason matters. Here's what he said. He said he supported her because of her position on Israel and because he believed she was the strongest candidate against what he called Jewish power. And that's why I think we have to be careful, Rev, with the word Zionist, because, yes, criticism of Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, the occupation, and Israeli policy is mandatory and legitimate, and Palestinians have their own history and trauma, and that has to be respected. But David Duke, Rev, was using the word Zionist as a pejorative decades ago, the same way that some racists now use terms like CRT and DEI as coded language. And I did one more thing, Rev. Dr. King saw that danger. Seymour Martin Lipset reported that shortly before King's death, when a black student made an anti-Zionist remark, King said, quote, "Don't talk like that. When people criticize Zionists, they mean Jews. You're talking anti-Semitism." And John Lewis later repeated that same quote in San Francisco Chronicle. So my question, Rev, is how do we defend Palestinian dignity, which we must do, without letting old David Duke-style anti-Semitism sneak into progressive language under the word Zionist? Thank you, Rev. I'd love to hear your answer.
All right, thank you for your call. My answer is the way we do it is the way we have done it, and I've done it personally. I went to Israel in 2001 and met with then Foreign Minister Sharon Peres, who had earlier and later, both times, served twice as Prime Minister of Israel, and said that I stood with the Israelis that had been victims of terrorism, because in 9/11, 2001, we'd faced it in New York, and I understand now directly the feelings of terror. Members of my organization worked in the World Trade Building, and two of them died that morning. But on the same trip, with the cooperation of Sharon Peres, I went and met with Yasser Arafat, who was the head of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO at that time. So you can stand up and say people in Israel should not be terrorized and that they have the right to a peaceful coexistence and state, and at the same time say the Palestinians must have human rights and human dignity. I met with both of them. So when you wanted my answer, I give you not only my answer, what I've done. One does not cancel the other. And I think that, in fact, those that ignore the wipeout of Palestinians in Gaza justify those that want to wipe Israelis out, and vice versa. Those that support Israel but turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to what's going on in Palestine justifies the hate against Israel. There must be middle ground, and we must respect the life and the sovereignty of both. All right, let's go to Yessie in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. Yessie?
Greetings, General Al. Glad you're doing well.
Doing very well.
I started off a little early on this show. I listened to Miss Eunice and Dee, and I heard almost everyone call into the show speak of God. And I don't think we have a problem with God. I think we have a problem with identifying that which is against God. And it seems to have deceived everyone into a great deal of effort towards trying to change its attitude. How do you feel about what I just said in terms of fear of God versus politics?
Well, I didn't think you said that. I think you said that that people don't have a problem with God; they have a problem identifying those against God. And where do you fit politics in that? Because you jumped to politics. How does politics fit in? I don't know how that fits in what you said. I was listening very carefully to what you said.
I got you there. Yes, sir. For me, in my assessment of what I see happening right now, most of us have a alliance with this which we call government, but we don't identify it as being something other than theocracy. We identify it as our God, to me, in that it's first in our output for energy right now. There may have been a time when that wasn't necessarily so, but I don't see us even adhering to the literature that we attest to God and in a response with each other, opposed to in pursuit of this thing which seems not to be of God. It says, in God we trust, but I think we, the people of the creation, I don't see how money could be even distributed, or a thing we created could be distributed and utilized against us without us paying attention to what's going on in reference to us being the product of God.
Yeah, well, I would answer this way. I think that for me personally, all of my judgments, all of my decisions, and all of my behavior starts with my belief in God and what I feel is God's will. And it is manifested in my politics and in how I deal with my neighbor and how I deal with co-workers, how I deal with my family. I don't have to, in my utterances, all the time say that I'm doing this because God told me, or doing this because it's in the scripture. I just do it. I think the Bible talks about doers of the word. And I think so many of us try to profess the word rather than live the word and make the word flesh. There's politics all through the Bible. Every king in the Bible was politics. Everybody that fought a king was politics. Moses leading the Exodus was a political move. You're moving against slavery. Joshua crossed to the promised land. That's government. So we try to label something sometimes to cover up not doing godly work by just using godly words. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back. I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them,
the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what are you doing National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Where's oh, I see I'm in today's New York Times word puzzle, and they're asking what is Al Sharpton's title for short. It's Rev. I didn't know everybody knew that. But the people in the New York Times, they didn't call me Rev. They should call me Reverend. No. Friday, and I told you this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we have the real guest of depth that on the front lines of the issues. I'm going to have on everyone from Congressman Jim Clyburn tomorrow, who just won the redistricting vote, South Carolina, but is challenging the Democratic Party. We're going to talk about that. We'll have on former Congressman Colin Allred, who just won the primary in Texas. When he was supposed to lose, they had combined his seat with another. He won anyway. I'm going to have him on. I'm going to have on Sunday Benny Thompson, Congressman from Mississippi, where they're trying to redistrict, and where it looks like a Democrat has a shot for the first time in decades to win the Senate seat in Mississippi. And I'm going to have him on as well, Scott Collum. I'm going to have on Mayor of Los Angeles, who will be facing a primary next Tuesday. And 48 hours before that, she'll be on Politics Nation with me. And I'm going to have on members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Many of us knew that group. Philip Bailey, Verdine White, and Ralph Johnson will be on about the HBO special. Don't miss Politics Nation. Both nights, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. And you in the New York area, I will be at the House of Justice meeting. And we've been temporarily at Mother AME Zion, the historic Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem, at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning, 137th Street and Lenox Avenue. We'll be there 9 to 11. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, on nationalactionnetwork.net, on YouTube/NAN, or our live stream. And, of course, we want you all to tune in. We've already put up on our National Action Network site on the homepage. You that want to come and sign in early, that you want to be on the list of people at the march on Washington, that is going to be August 28th in Washington. We need to show a national march. There's been great marches, and I've sent NAN people. I've gone to one or two myself, but from Mississippi to Montgomery and all, and we need to culminate the summer on the anniversary of the I Have a Dream March, showing numbers, unity, and strength in Washington, right there where the Supreme Court and their workers work, right there where the Congress is, by the thousands. I want your name on the roll. Tell me where you are. Go to nationalactionnetwork.net and say, Ramal, I want to be part of the march. I'm coming. I need information. I want to organize a bus, or I can do a bus, or we need y'all to help. Go to nationalactionnetwork.net. And that June 1st is Monday. We only have a little under 2 months to shake the world, but we can do it. All right, let's go to Jeremiah in Ohio. Jeremiah, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
For taking my phone. Hey, Dr. Sharpton, thanks for taking my phone call. Can you hear me okay?
I do hear you, yes.
Thanks for taking my phone call. While I was on hold, just real quickly, if you allow me, take a remark. The King James Version of the Bible and the crop, I always mess it up, acropolis, that part of the Bible, anyway, is from a king. That's political. I look at you as Dr. Sharpton as a saint, because I kind of try to do the same thing. You can see ahead, you prepare, and you put the work in. So it's all about putting the work in. And I also noticed, since I was on hold, that they kind of start them off young before they assign them to you. They groom them, and then they assign them to you. But here's what I call for, Dr. Sharpton, kind of real quick, silly thing. Everybody is saying $1.8 billion. They're rounding up.
Right.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's $1.776 billion.
You're correct. You're correct.
That's what, it's not funny, but that's the joke about it all. That's 1776 when, the 250th anniversary of the United States. Now, who could just come up with that number if it wasn't a gimmick? You understand what I mean?
It's totally a gimmick. You blew it out the water on that one, Jeremiah. You're right. There's no way mathematically you could add up to that, particularly when you don't even know the people that are going to get paid. So how do you come to that number other than it's a gimmick? You're right.
Yeah, so could I ask you to refrain from rounding it up to 1.8 billion and really show the stupidity of it as 1776 is really 1.776 billion. So
I think you're right. From here out, I'm gonna quit cleaning it up for them. I'm gonna say exactly what they say and call it a gimmick. You're right. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you.
Yeah. Could I speak on a couple of things real fast?
Okay.
Real quick.
Real fast.
I still have a situation with Charles Barkley doing these commercials for the bank, because if they're taking Community Reinvestment Act and giving to people like Charles Barkley, I think is wrong. Another thing I think is wrong too is, like the insurance company, they even use your backdrop of New York. I don't really want to say the name to give them any publicity, but they use I'll say maybe an ethnic Italian, and he can't speak well, like he has a speech impediment. And they talk about DEI, how they got rid of it, but then they put a commercial on to insult us with somebody who can't get the lines correctly, and they make that like that's really something that's I don't know what they think. I think it's insulting. Another thing I think too is they're making you may not get this one, because I don't blame you. Sometimes I buy clothes off the rack, and I've been in a couple of some of these department stores trying to get some trousers, and they're making the zippers too small. And that's they used to make zippers that zip longer down. Now they're making the zippers that aren't that long. That's silly to bring up, but it's a problem to me. So those were my 4 things.
I'm with you, and I'm with you. I'm not gonna comment on the zipper thing, but I'm with you. I'm trying to look and see the zipper I got on. Well, let me take my break. I'm not gonna get into zipper talk. That'll be on somebody's website if I say something. But I'm with you on other stuff. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Jeremiah kept it really real. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Voting rights.
Everyone look here.
Say it again, Ms. Pearl.
Voting rights.
Voting rights. One more time, Ms. Pearl.
Voting rights.
There we go.
Voting rights. Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we need it?
Now. Yesterday.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We would go. Yeah, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you
you.
been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time, and we
Alexander Shaw. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have the slavery.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly. The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road from me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket.
Wow.
To South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about it in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January.
His daughter Sweat, that was his daddy, and helped him push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, do you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to our 20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But,
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net. I see the Mayor Rodney Jones, saying there's nothing like the Saturday Action Rally. He's there just about every Saturday. He says, I am already trying to coordinate with Bishop Taylor here in Queensbridge for a bus to Washington on August 28th. Well, I know that you and Bishop Taylor can get that done. Queensbridge definitely needs to be down with us in Washington. Bruce Turner saying we don't have Lou Gossett and Danny Glover type actors anymore. Talking about standing up people that will not take a stand. And I think that's right. Harry Belafonte, Ozzie Davis, these were artists, Nina Simone. These were artists that stood up while I was a kid in elementary school. And you don't have those type of artists today that put their career on the line, or even put it into their music, like James Brown did Black and Proud, or like Nina, A Young Gifted and Black, or any of that. And they making more money, and they have more wherewithal and power than the artist did that did it, who sacrificed to do it. It's about who you are and what you believe. And I'm proud, though, of the artists that pulled out of the 250th anniversary or the birthday celebration of Donald Trump when they found out what it was about. But, all right, let me go back to the phone. Let me go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Ray, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir, Rev. Thanks for taking my call. Actually, what you just mentioned, one of the things I was gonna bring up with these artists leaving. My question is, why would you even accept it in the first place?
I think some of them said that they did not know what it was.
Uh-huh.
That's what that's what the quote was. Now, I'm not talking to any of the artists. The quote in the media was that at least two of them said that they thought it was a celebration of the country. They did not know it was what it was.
Okay. In my opinion, I don't think they're that gullible to get where they are, to be invited to something like that. You know, I think they just got blowback. They got pushback, from the fans.
You could be right. Let me say, you could be right. You're probably right. And I think they are gullible enough to let their managers put them in something, and they may not have known about it till it was pushed back. Two things can be right at the same time. A lot of these rappers and artists have no involvement in where their career is going until there's a problem. So it's very possible they didn't know but agreed because they didn't know what they were agreeing to. And it's very possible they did know, and the backlash made them back up. You're correct.
Yeah. And, as far as the people that's controlling them, money talks, and, you get enough palms greased, money change hands. But let me say this. CNN, when that merger goes through, will be compromised. 60 Minutes will be compromised. People are leaving 60 Minutes and won't be back. A lot of the reporters, and some are quitting, some will be fired. Same way with CNN. And CNN is just going to be another Fox. So.
Well, let me say this before you go to another point. Once the merger goes through, which has to be approved by, and is going to be approved by Trump's people in the FCC, and that's why they went with that. And if they change the programming, as some feel they will, as you just said, to where they're right of center like Fox and all, then now people will understand why I've stayed as long as I could and longer. And MS Now is going to be the only ones you could say something on the other side. And when they spun off from Comcast to Variant, it's no issue that they're trying to do cables or stuff they need to do to get government approval. So they don't have the leverage. They have the leverage with these big networks to say, well, you want a merger, you want to be able to sell, to do your broadcasting and to do the cable hardware. We're not approving that. So we're in a very serious time where you're only going to have one or two stations that can even say free speech. And then you get the hired hands that argue about those of us on there. You got people that jump on websites about, well, why Sharpton on MS Now? On left and right. On the right, they're saying he shouldn't have a show. Trump has said it. On the left, they're saying, oh, you're a sellout to deal with corporate media. So we going to act like millions of people that watch corporate media shouldn't have the alternative view? I don't think so.
Yeah. And I know about a week or two ago, Rev, you asked me, when I said, you got blacks out here for Trump, and you asked me, why is that? And I told you, I said, and I was honest, I don't know because they don't know. Have you met a guy, somebody you respected that's a Trump supporter? He may not be MAGA, but he's a Trump supporter, and he gave you a legitimate reason why he voted and supported Trump?
No. I met guys. I met guys that are not MAGA that have said that they are for Trump, but they've not given me a legitimate reason why.
Right, and that's why I answered your question, Rev. I couldn't tell you. We got this guy here in Cincinnati. We ask him all the time. He comes on pretty much every other day. Why are you for Trump? The only thing he says is, man, because Trump is gangster. I'm like, what? Because this guy used to be a what do you call guy in the streets because he gangster? I mean, you want to go back? He's like maybe in his 40s or something, but your mom and grandmother grew up in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they told you how bad it was, and you're okay going back there. Rev, they don't have a legitimate reason, and for the life of me, the Byron Donald's going to realize white folks don't mean him no good when he loses that seat. And for the life of me, the Texas Senate race, have you ever heard of a Texas Senate race being tied? Usually it's in favor of red, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. It's tied, and it's definitely usually in favor of the right wing, the Republican. Never one in decades it got this close. No, it's really very, very interesting what's happening there.
So it's about turnout. It's about turnout, people. You better go out there and vote.
Yeah.
All right, Red.
Thank you for your call. All right, let's go to Sharon in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. Sharon?
Reverend Sharpton?
Yes.
Hi there. This
Hi.
is Miss Sharon, the one. Hi, this is the Miss Sharon that likes to hear you say, Sharpton. Reverend Sharpton, I called because I believe I heard Disco Brian mention David Duke. I thought he was dead. Let me tell you what I do know about David Duke. Years ago, I was watching a local newscast, and the reporter had the microphone in this man's face, and I didn't know who he was. But I will never, ever forget him because he had strange-looking eyes. Strange-looking eyes. And Donald J. Dump has the same snake-looking eyes. Just look at the eyes. And he spewed out of his mouth that he and they were going to take off of their hoods and put on suits, and they were going to infiltrate the military and the government. And that was years ago, Reverend Sharpton. And look at it now. It took a long time, but guess what? They methodically did it and made it happen. Now, what I am saying to the establishment Republicans, you better rescue your party from those evil, racist MAGA Republicans, so that this country can get back to some civility. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well, I won't ask you what you think because I don't want to get you in.
No, you don't get me in nothing. I say what I think every day, all day. No, I absolutely agree with that. Definitely, Sharon.
I really appreciate you.
All right.
Giving me time to
Thank you. And thank you for calling and thank you for listening. Let's take a break. And in honor of Sharon, we'll be right back. Shopton, since she likes me to say that. We'll be right back.
We need some room. All right, hold on. Michael Jackson is the highest selling artist of all time. No one has sold more records in the history of the planet than Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson said to us, he did not want to just raise the issue of what's happening with him. He said that artists all over the world need people to stand up and protect their rights. And he said, Reverend, if we're going to stand up, if it's for all artists, I'm there. As you know, there's a big rally his fan club is doing this afternoon, but he said, I'm coming to Harlem this morning to meet with community leaders because we want justice in the music industry for all artists. Now there'll be some that say, oh, Michael, are you doing this only because of your situation? Michael came to Harlem 2 months ago for the DNC. Now he comes for his own peers. Because we discussed it. Kathy and I talked about how we watched James Brown struggle, Little Richard struggle. We've seen artists, black and white and Latino struggle. Somewhere this has to stop. We do not buy records. We do not buy CDs to give money to the company. We buy it to support the artists that we like. And we want the artists to be free. We don't want the companies bigger than the artists. We want the people respected and the stars that we make stars to shine in the galaxy for us. And let me say this is the 4th of July weekend. Michael Jackson is an American story. Him and his family rode from Gary, Indiana, to where he's an icon all over the world. Didn't no one give him anything. He sung, he danced, he created, he produced, he spent hours in the studio. No executive did that for him. You do not have the right to take from someone what you didn't put in them. He created where he is. We appreciated it. We didn't hear about Michael when he got to Sony. We knew Michael with ABC when he was in Gary. They got thrilled when he did Thriller. We was already thrilled. We were already off the wall. And we coming off our seats to stand up for justice in the music industry. Let me say one more thing. I don't need that now talking. Now we're on the rail. I want people to hear the message. Let me say something. I read one newspaper said, well, the record company said they're going to wait and put out the best of Michael Jackson. You can't put out the best of Michael Jackson because the best of Michael Jackson is yet to come. He's still creating. He's still innovating. He's still the king. He's still ours, and we are still his. Fans all over the world. Thousands came out in London. Thousands will come out in New York. All over the world, we're going to make it clear that our artists should not be paying back things they had no input in. The promotion budgets. James M. Tume will lay it out. The video budgets. All of this is a charge to the artist, yet the artists have no discretion on what to say. So if they want to buy an ad with their friend, Michael can't tell them buy it in Jet Magazine because they decide the budget and charge it to the artists. That's why many of these artists have no money at the end of their career. But he wanted to fight while he was on top, so it will help your child not have to fight one day to go through what they've had to go through. Sammy Davis Jr. died broke. His wife had to become a waitress. Michael said, I owe it to Sammy. I owe it to James Brown. I owe it to Little Richard. We gonna stop this once and for all.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on. Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived. I was there.
You're true to this.
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Walter Phone Troy,
he was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist. Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in. Oh, yeah. Sure. Just us.
Just us.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am
Let's go to Reverend Johnson in Richmond, Virginia. Reverend Johnson, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Rev.
Good afternoon.
I was calling today. I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia again, and I was calling just to get
Reverend Williams
answers on some questions that I had for you guys today. My question that I had was, what can local leaders here in Richmond, Virginia, and as a part of National Action Network do right now to better protect and uplift our youth, and not just our youth, but civil rights right now?
I think that the best thing we can do is to start having community gatherings where we can have people come in, and I'd come in, and speak about what the issues are and what it means to them. I think, Reverend, that we do not do enough on the ground explaining to people, and they really don't know. Some people are hard-headed, but some people just are uninformed, and therefore they go by, a lot of our young people just go by what's on the social media. And I think we need to start having community meetings. That's one of the reasons I'm going to do this 23-city tour, and Richmond should be one of them. And I'm not talking about just speaking and singing. I'm talking about some dialogue, answer questions, get into it. And I would definitely, if you're interested in that, you should just call us at that toll-free number and let us know, and we'll work with you and put something together. Because I definitely think Richmond, when y'all went through what y'all went through in the redistricting fight, and it stood up like that, that should have been a wake-up call, but it also should be a follow-up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, not for boast or brag, we have persons here from Richmond who also want to donate to your building fund. And so we're going to do that also today. And I wanted to let you know that, too.
Well, I appreciate that. We need it. We want to pay it off, and I appreciate that. But please just text us or call us at the toll-free number, and I'll have somebody get right back to you. Let's work out a date. I'd love to come to Richmond.
Yes, sir. You guys have a blessed weekend.
God bless you, too. That's wonderful. That's what we need to be doing, people that want to do the work. Let's go to Mrs. Richardson, my friend in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Ms. Richardson.
Yes, good afternoon, my darling. How are you this afternoon, Reverend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm doing good, because when we listen to you, we learn something, Rev. You like a pyramid of knowledge.
Don't forget about Reverend Williams.
From the old school. I'm a gal from the old. I'm with your mom. You remember your mom?
Oh yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
Now, didn't she teach you some things about life a little bit before you know? Because I tell you, I did with mine, and I keep telling them about the turmoil that's out here. And I say, listen, you're going to get involved with a gal.
Well,
you better know something about it.
I'll tell you, not only did my mother teach me, as you asked, a lot of things she taught me, I didn't understand what she taught me till later in life. And I said, my mama told me about this. So some lessons are immediate, and some lessons hit you up down the road. And she used to tell me that it ain't gonna mean nothing to you now, but you gonna understand it later. And then when I start having my daughters, I start telling them the same thing. You'll understand it later.
You'll understand it. That's right. Now, your mom told you a lot, because you remember when these songs that came out, I thought that they were a little heavy, but now that I look at what some of them songs were saying, such as, what was the one, Papa was like a Rolling Stone?
Yeah, Papa was a Rolling Stone, yeah.
Yeah, and so one of my sons who really, he admires that comedian, the one that comes on late night, and the black comedian, I can't think of his name, but, Theodore loves him. And but see, in the old days, when we looked at this white abolitioner, I guess you could call him, John Brown.
Right.
Now, John Brown, didn't he stand up for blacks? He wanted them to be free. He told these Anglos Listen, he was telling them during that period. Now I'm saying, Reb, look at today in 2026. Where are the white abolitionists like John Brown? Where? Because all I see them in is in politics. And a lot of them are in it for their own self-interest. Let's face it, we got to tell truth somewhere.
Right.
And when you recognize the truth, you will comment, right? If I say something that's rightful and factful, you'll back me up, right?
Absolutely.
And see what I'm saying there, because I know you got other people, but I'm saying, see, we have got to stop this round the rosemary. What do you call it? Round the merry-go-round, and we don't go nowhere with it. We stay on a certain base. But see, even when John, what was his name, the civil rights, Lyndon Baines Johnson, you see, and then we get stuck there thinking, well, Mr. Johnson did this. Why are they changing this? And why are they doing that's the ingredients, folks, in politics. And Reverend, I think you'll agree with me. That's the ingredients. One of the important ingredients is that you don't stay on one level, even if you are progressive or a Republican, conservative, or a MAGA. It doesn't matter where you are, even if the Green, and I don't hear very much about the Green Party anymore. What happened to that? And so I'm saying, bottom line, folks, we got to wake up, smell some coffee somewhere. Because politics is not like that, Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere with it if you just say, well, why didn't Mr. Johnson keep it going? It's not like that, folks, in politics. Reverend will back me up there. And so at my age, I have no choice but to speak up. And I'm like your mom. I'm in her generation probably because I have a daughter past 70. So right. I know a little thing here and there. I know everything how men do it. Men, see, being a social worker years ago, my God, I gave that up years ago. But when I was trained to be a social worker, I could see all this stuff going on in families, black families, white families, polka dot, doesn't matter what family. You got problems. If you're dysfunctional, you're dysfunctional. But what I'm saying to this is that men, to a great degree, has fallen back on their responsibility. And I think you would agree. We have to get back to how the white man, John Brown, was talking. We need black abolitionists, people like yourself, Red. We need more. You're only one mortal. We need other men to be in there with you fighting and not just calling talk shows 3 and 4 times a week. And I don't call you as much. Maybe I may call you twice sometimes, but not all. And I'm not trying to brag on callers, but if that's all you're going to do, at least go into something where you can be a part of Reverend's committee, Reverend L's a power committee, or something about where black men should be. Because what we're doing now, we're fanning around on our fannies, and we just want to be heard, and of course we want to be agreed. We're only human. But I'm saying, at my age, I got to at some point tell the truth. I just can't keep going on my self-interest. We got to lay out facts, Reverend. The facts is both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, to me now, they've got to give up this partisan politics from progressives in. Because, see, a lot of Arab people that vote Democratic, they think progressive means all ends, and it's not true. We've got to face the facts of progressive and conservative downfalls, what both parties are not bringing details about. We need details about what we're doing, who we're saving, who we want to be a part of. And it's just that this extreme left is what I have a problem with. They want unisex toilets. Women and girls and boys using the same Johns, and men wanting to dress up like women, like Perry, and go out in public and look that way. I'm not against. I just don't feel that that's necessary. Stay at home if you want your entertainment that way. Why carry it in public? I'm saying that people have rights, Rev, but it's some ground that we have to go by what God wants. And if we all are believers of the true creator of the universe, like the guy called earlier, I forgot his name, but he was touching on it. We've got to look out and distinguish what God wants and what God does not want, and stop playing games with God. That's what I think we better stop doing. That's right. Because that's all we tend to go around, Well, Rev, that's all I wanted to say.
All right, well, thank you for your call. Thank you for your call. Let me bring on every week, the last hour, my co-host, the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, head of national expansion and the Michigan State chair of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend?
And Rev, it is always good to be with you on yet another Exhale Friday. You know, Rev, we are, man, I tell you, exhale is the right word today, as well you have been reporting and talking about how we've been fighting back and standing up against these attacks on legislators, attacks on voting rights, on attacks on blacks over the last 3 years of Donald Trump. And in those attacks, today we received a serious blow, as you well know, in Louisiana. They have gerrymandered and redistrict their map, icing black legislators. We lost fighter for justice, fighter for the people in Texas, and Al Green because of redistricting. This is happening. This is real. It is now. It is not tomorrow. It is not what they did 50 years ago. It is what they're doing today. And to some degree, we have to look at this and use this as a time to mobilize like we've never done it before. And so, I mean, one thing Sister said before I got on was we got to get into action. She's absolutely right about that for sure. Is that we do have to get into the action, and there's no better action than the action we have planned for this summer, August the 28th, all the way up until August the 28th. We're going to be organizing. I heard you mention the tour you're going on, and we all got to go on tours. I think that's one thing we have to realize. We all got to go, whether it's a tour in your state, whether it's a tour in your local community, whether it's a tour on your local block, in which the 6 to 10 block clubs around your community or around your state. This is where we are. Movement time, not moment time, not slap high five and say we did it after we organized one meeting time. This is our time to make sure that we stand up and fight back. We need lines around the building. We need voter turnouts like we've never seen before. That's it. That's the message. Voter turnout. Turnout beats everything. There are white districts, there are Republican districts all over this country that if African Americans would turn out, you know, some of these districts that they redistrict, they know there's enough black votes in there, but they not counting the votes because they historically don't have a record of a turnout in those communities. So this year has to be the year that we've seen a presidential year midterm vote turnout, meaning so many people turned out in the midterm that it looked like a presidential year. This is what this has got to be. So I ask you to join us. Join the National Action Network as we prepare to do that work throughout this summer. Nobody coming to help us but us. Nobody coming to save us but us. Join us as we go around the country. Join us as we march towards August the 28th. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net.
All right, we're going to take our break. We'll be right back. More of you on the phones and the message board. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back. Charles Williams.
Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over criticizing them, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about them. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are, and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Dr. Charles Williams is our co-host. Let's go to Leon in Dallas, Texas. Leon? Is Leon there?
Yeah, I am now.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Good afternoon. Couple of things, but there was one little small thing I wanted to mention. There are more registered Democrats in the state of Texas than there are Republicans.
Right.
So as you all have both said, it's incumbent on us to get out and vote because we can flip the state because of the numbers. But I really wanted to mention something that's kind of reminiscent of what happened during the first Trump administration, and I'm hoping to get out in front of this before maybe something happens comparable. This Ebola thing that's in Africa now. Well, you know, Trump mishandled COVID,
right,
and lost 1 million people. And right now he's mishandling this Ebola epidemic. And these people are demented enough to try to say, well, we'll keep it over there. And as long as it doesn't affect us, which is, how can I say it, as a sick, because, and I mean sick in the demented, morbid way, because there are too many ways for that disease to move around the world. And if you had any humanity, any decency about yourself, you want to treat the disease wherever it is to eradicate it. Not just say, we'll just keep it over there in Africa, wink, wink, nod, nod, or whatever, and it's just affecting black people.
Right.
That's the twisted way of thinking that the Trump administration has demonstrated over and over and over it uses. Secondly, the way they're strangling Cuba, this is inhumane. Trying to impose, you know, their way of thinking or their way of governing or their way of, you know, whatever you want to call it, on the Cubans by withholding food and petroleum products that
even electricity.
Right. It's diabolical. It's uncivilized. It's barbaric. But at the same time, we're trying to import more people from South Africa. So it's racist. And that's even more of a incentive for people to vote who don't believe in this type of governance. We have to be as serious working against this stuff as they are working to impose this stuff. And until we show that we can do it, we haven't done it, because they keep on having victory after victory in the courts and in these other different things. And we'll have to see, or we must see when we go to the ballot box, that we can change this stuff. What do you think about that, Reverend?
I definitely think you're right. I think that the issue of Ebola is not even on the news in this country, and it is devastating. And no one is not even asking Trump about Ebola. And I think that the reaction to world emergencies has to be equal. If that was in another country, they would not ignore it. I think that you are absolutely right about that. The other part, I think you are correct, is that we need to deal with these issues. And well, we need to frame the issues rather than the issues frame us. One of the real reasons for the civil rights movement in the 60s and beyond being effective is we set the tone. We didn't respond to the tone. That's why I'm having this march on Washington. We're busy reacting to them. I'm sitting up watching people whose mothers and grandmothers did everything from the March on Washington to the Million Man March in the 90s to what we've done now. And they're watching No Kings marches and others, and we're not doing nothing. It does not make sense. Like our kids acting like we're students of people that were students of what we did. That's how they learned it. I'm glad they did. Right. I'm not saying that I'm against it. But what are we talking about? And I think that we need to stand up and claim our own positioning. Rev Williams, what you think?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I'm glad you said that because, reaction is not what will get us results. They wasn't reacting in the South when they was going around, starting the civil disobedience, which started the fires that ultimately overturned and desegregated the South. They were acting. And that's what action is about. That's what National Action Network is about. And that, let me just be very clear. I'm going to say this. That is why you organize National Action Network. Because we have had too many organizations and too many folks who have risen up to be reactors and not actors.
Yeah.
We're the actors.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Actors and activists. Let's take a break. Thank you for your call, Leon. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real. Shopton Williams. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Walter Fontroy,
he was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. He said he was a communist. Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in. Oh, yeah. Sure. Just us. Just us. But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Yes. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. Yes. We thank you for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. Yes. We thank you.
Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad news, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice. So I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go to the message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and send a message. We'll read it on the air. And of course, Reverend Charles Williams II is our co-host. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton both days. And I told y'all I was working the phones. I got the best lineup you could get on the issues this week. On tomorrow, as we deal with the fact that the legislature in South Carolina, including some Republicans, voted against redistricting to take down Congressman Jim Clyburn's district. We'll have Jim Clyburn on the show. He'll be my lead guest tomorrow night, Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Not only talk about his victory, but to talk about how we must put energy in the Democratic Party. If they don't, they're going to lose again. He has a message, and he's going to be on Politics Nation tomorrow. Then former Congressman Colin Allred, who they did cut up his district in Texas and put him against another congresswoman, he still won. He won the new district that was cut out to eliminate him. He'll be on the show tomorrow at 5, and we're going to talk to him, among others. And then on Sunday, on Sunday, the races in Mississippi. Looks like the first time in decades there may be a Democrat that can win the U.S. Senate, and we're going to have that candidate on, Scott Collum, and we're going to have on Congressman Benny Thompson of Mississippi to talk about the whole question of redistricting there. And we're going to have members of Earth, Wind, and Fire talk about the HBO documentary on HBO on Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we're going to have on the mayor of Oakland, California, Barbara Lee, who she faces a primary next Tuesday. And we're going to talk about how things look for her. You that are in the New York area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in the morning at the Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, on nationalactionnetwork.net live stream, on the YouTube/NAN, and watch it all. And you that want to organize or just get your name down now that you're going to be at the march August 28th, go to nationalactionnetwork.net, sign in, and we have people call you and organize with you to make sure you can organize a bus, or you have organized a bus, or what's the closest bus to you, or what to do when you land if you're flying. Let's turn Washington on and let them know on the anniversary of the Keeping of the Dream, you're joining Martin Luther King III and Andrew Waters King and I in Washington. And Rem Williams, what's going on at Detroit National Action Network in the morning?
We had a wonderful meeting last week with Congresswoman Haley Stevens, the front runner for the U.S. Senate race. We are organizing all across the state to get folks registered to vote, as well as we have a special turnout plan that we'll be talking about to make sure that folks get out to vote. So make sure that you join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the historic King Solomon Baptist Church. We have, not tomorrow, but we certainly have the Jocelyn Benson, who's the Democratic front runner, have reached out to us. So we'll be having her in the next couple of weeks. So you want to get in action now. You can also sign up for Washington, D.C. You can also bring your commitments as we support the opening of our new office, national office of the National Action Network in New York. So make sure you're there. Plenty action to get involved in. Plenty work to be done.
All right, and I see that is this Martise Chisholm says, yes, we have a good chance of flipping the Mississippi Senate seat. I live in DeSoto County, Mississippi. All right, Martise, well, I'm going to talk.
That might be one of my relatives.
Might be.
DeSoto County.
Might be. I'm going to have the candidate on and Benny Thompson on Sunday night. So both nights. I tell y'all, I don't take no shorts. I want the folk right in the middle of things. All right, let's go to the phones. And I see on the board we have the irrepressible, incomparable president of the Greater Cleveland chapter of the National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy.
Reverend Al Sharpton and Dr. Charles Williams. I know I'm going to yield to the 98-year-old, but I got to tell you, we had a packed house training new voters on what we're going to do. We got the Brave right now. We're training them on how to use the voting machines. The house was packed on last night, but I'm going to yield my time to the 98-year-old. However, if you want to go with us to Washington, D.C. on August 28th, you got to call us, 216-374-0913. Come on, Bishop.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you, Reverend.
My brothers and my sisters, the Right Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. correctly stated that the true measure of a genuine, decent, dignified human being is not in times of comfort and convenience, but in times of challenge and controversy. My true measure of a man is how he or she handles the 18 inches between the head and the heart. You are what the 18 inches of you emanates out of your head and your heart. When you truly measure our illustrious and distinguished leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, you will find the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. 18 inches from the head to the heart of Sharpton will discern a man who will not lie and will not mock disabled human beings. Sharpton would never use profane or vulgar language on sacred days of virtue and rectitude. Sharpton would never spend 10 years with a sex trafficker who raped young girls as young as 13 years of age. This is the convicted felon sitting in the Oval Office. Our leader would not initiate an unjust Iran war to ingratiate his own narcissistic selfish self. This is the bigoted white supremacist sitting in the White House. Al Sharpton would never kill innocent women to glorify his bloodthirsty image. He would never desire birthright citizens the right to vote because of the color of their skin. Our leader would not prefer golden ballrooms, golden statues, millionaires and billionaires over the well-being of average and common people. Sharpton would never disrespect womanhood by grabbing them by their private parts and brag about it on public and social media. Al Sharpton would not lie, let alone telling 21 lies every day of his presidential leadership of the National Action Network. He would not incite an insurrection against his own government and then turn around and give the perpetrators who killed and maimed police $1.8 billion for that treasonous behavior. This is vanity Trumpism. Al Sharpton would never destroy NATO and suck up to the Hitlers and Putins of the world. He would never tolerate a Secretary of Defense to refuse promotion to black people because it would be not proper for a foreigner to view a black woman to be standing next to a white man. Al Sharpton would never allow the 18 inches essence of his being to be that of hatred, bigotry, racism, and dictatorial authoritarianism. The 18 inches of the nature and essence of our esteemed leader is one of being of the people, by the people, and for the people. He's committed to democracy, equity, inclusion, justice, freedom for every citizen of the United States of America. The 18 inches of our distinguished leader would not allow citizens to have food prices to be so high that you have to decide whether you're going to eat or pay your bills, whether you're going to be able to buy gas or pay your mortgage or car note, whether you will continue receiving a Social Security check or end up in the poorhouse. All of the above and more is what you inherit when you have to choose between a man of God, Al Sharpton, and a convicted man of the devil. Unlike convicted felon Donald Trump's leadership, disabilities, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton's leadership abilities are the gold standard. Sharpton's leadership is clean as a whistle, while Donald Trump's leadership sitting in the White House. I will never follow a convicted felon even out the door. But I will forever follow the 18 inches of our esteemed leader, the Reverend Dr. Alfred Sharpton, always. Thank you, my leader.
I am Marcia McCoy, and I approve the doctor's message. Thank you, Bishop.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And it wouldn't be a week ending Reverend Williams without hearing the words of wisdom from our bishop. And he puts us straight for the week. I love him. 98 years old. He got the energy that he always had. Let's get ready to go. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real.